Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to paint this cute fox. So get your canvas ready, just put it out in front of you. You need your paint with your plate. Don't necessarily have to put it on your plate, you can work right out of your little cups. We have the 5 colors, black, white, blue, this burnt orange, it's called Venetian red, and this kind of dull yellowy color. I'm not sure what that's called. It is called raw sienna. You're also gonna need brushes. I have 3 sizes. I've got a big one, a medium, and a small, but just use whatever you have. A towel. We can dry our brushes off after we clean them. And our jar. So you make sure you have a little something to keep water in. And when you're not using your brushes and they have paint on them, you're just gonna store them right in your jar. That way, your dirty brushes aren't laying out with paint on them getting all dry and crusty. It will ruin your brushes. So first step is we are going to paint the background, and that's everything around the outside of the fox. We're going to be very careful not to paint on the fox. And for that color, we're just going to make a very, very, very light blue. So I'm going to just take a tiny bit of blue, and I'm not kidding. It is just the tiniest bit of blue on your brush, and stir it in with quite a bit of white. So it's very, very little bits of blue in with your white. And I can add just a little bit more blue. It's better to do a little at a time. Otherwise, all your white will end up having to be used. And you need it for other parts. So just mix up enough to fill in your whole background. I need twice as much as you just because my canvas is twice the size. And you're just gonna take this color on your brush and just go all around your entire background. Get in this little area here. You're gonna go around this tail, just all the way around him. And as you work, just take little bits of white on your brush and blend it in. And that'll help keep it nice and light. I'm just being very careful around my edges. I'm just getting all that blue spread out nice and thin. Try not to have globs. Just nice, smooth, even paint. So once you have your background all filled in, we're going to paint the orange part of the fox. I'm just gonna clean out my brush. Sorry, I kind of bumped this. I'm try to make it in view better. That seems fine. And using my bigger brush, maybe even a medium brush, I'm just gonna go in and paint all the orange parts of my fox. And we're gonna be using that burnt orange color, Venetian red. This one here, I'm gonna just paint right on him, get his head, ears. And while I work, again, I like to mix just a little bit of white in on my brush. I just take a little on my dirty brush, and that just helps me smooth my paint out. And I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna go right over his eyes. You can go around them if you want, but they're gonna be painted black, and that's gonna be easy to cover this orange color. They're just circles. So if you're afraid you're not gonna be able to put them back on without being able to see them, go around them, but it's not a hard shape to add on. I go right on the ears. Come right down to his nose. I'm gonna blend a little bit more white in. Just to smooth out my brush strokes. And if you wanna just do another coat later, feel free. That will help get rid of brush marks. So it's up to you. I'm just gonna do the one. I'm gonna do his little, let's see, his arm. I'm gonna go around the little bow tie, around his belly. Get his little footer. Can't really get down with my brush. I'm gonna try. Get that filled in. I'm gonna go and do his other little arm. And there's a little gap here. Maybe. Just depends on how it gets sketched on. There may or may not be a gap. I do these quickly. Get his little front paw. They will be painted dark gray later, so if that's not filled in the best, no big deal. I'm just gonna take a little bit of white and just smooth out my paint, blend her out. Now the tail, same. I'm not gonna do this little top bit. I'll go around those little jagged edges. And I'm just gonna paint right over, and we'll draw in that line later. I paint right over that little knee. Take a little white just to help smooth out my brush strokes. And again, if you want to do, excuse me, another coat for better coverage, feel free. I'm going to do this little foot. Can't really get to it good. So I just got this. My glue is a little wet. I'm getting it on my hands. Ugh. So this little foot here comes down to about here. It just has this little foot, and same here. And then he's got this little where he's sitting on his butt. This right here gets filled in. I guess this should have been blue background. So we'll go back in and fill that in with background color. Let me finish my orange and we'll go fix that up in a minute. Just gonna get that filled in. This little butt. And then this knee. His knee comes down into the foot. And it's okay if you can't really see where his leg, like his front leg here, joins in. We're going to define that line later, so that'll look better. I'm gonna switch to my little bit smaller brush just because these spots, especially here, it's a little hard to get to. And I'm just gonna blend in a little bit of white just to help smooth out my paint. And same on his leg. Let me fix this little foot up a little. And there I've got all my orange parts on. I am going to go back in this little spot that I missed this background. I'm just going to take a little bit of my light blue again. Just a little bit of that. And just get this filled in. Just be careful. Now that our orange paint is on there, it's a little bit wet. You don't want to blend that into your blue. There. Okay, so we've got our orange done, and now we're gonna go in and just do all of our white. I'm not real worried about my orange paint being wet still, because it's okay if a little bit gets blended in with our white. So I'm gonna do this parts of his face, and it's just white paint. I'll go around the nose. I'm gonna overlap even a little. And it does take a little bit of the orange on my brush, very faint amounts, because this is pretty dry up here. And it's just a little bit overlapped. Same on this side. And that side did have orange. That's okay. See how it's kind of blending in? I'm just gonna move it around until it's kind of all over. One on that side too, so they match. So if that happens, it's just a happy accident. No big deal. A little wet spot down there. It's kind of smushing in. If you end up getting way too much of that color kind of on your brush and it's pulling into this white, when it dries, you can just go back in, go back on top with white, and he'll no longer have like this tone in his face. On the tail, same idea. We're just gonna fill this top part in white, overlap a little under your background. And I'm gonna come down in here in these little points, overlap a little. See, I'm picking up wet paint. I got a lot on my brush that time. I'm just gonna wipe it off on the towel and just go back in with white and just smooth it out. And this does get a little outline later, so your edges will look a lot nicer once we do that. If you're worried about getting too much of the orange in, just let it dry. Just sit back for a few minutes, make sure your paint is dry on the edges and you won't get all that in there. I personally like it in there a little bit because fox aren't like pure perfectly white. They live outside. They're a little dirty. And his belly, I'm just gonna paint white again, same like I've been doing, and then just overlap a little onto my edge. It's gonna come all the way down, and that's fairly dry, so I'm not getting any pulled in. But since everything else has that in it, I am probably gonna just add a little bit so that it matches everything else. So I'll just take a tiny bit of my orange on my brush and just maybe on my edges, put it on. And that's just a tiny bit. And then I'm just blending it. That way the whole thing has the same kind of look to it. And there's his little belly. So now we're gonna do the dark gray parts. And to make dark gray, we're gonna be using black and white. And since it's dark gray, it's more black than white. So I'll just take a little bit of white over here, and I'm gonna also take a bit of black, and I'm just gonna stir that together. I want that a little bit darker, so a little bit more black. A little darker. There. That will be perfect. So it's nice and dark. You see, this is my black, and it's just a little bit lighter than black. And I'm going to put triangle shapes inside of the ears. One there, one here, and fill them in. And let's see, where else should we do it? Oh, we need to do his little, so I'm gonna just come about here on his feet, come down and fill in this whole paw. And we need the edge to be a little jagged, like the tail is. So I'm just gonna kind of put little zigzags on the top. And I'll do the same on this one, about the same height, right there. And I'll fill in the bottom part of the paw. Right over that orange. And then put zigzags at the top. So for the back paws, I'm gonna do the same. Let's see, where do we want the feet to stop? Maybe like right here. I'm gonna do this whole back paw. And I'm gonna zigzag at the top. Same with this side, maybe about to here. Oh wait, don't do that, because he's got a tail there too. So we're gonna put in, before I do all that, make it weird, let me try to get that off of there. Pretend I didn't do that. Like I just pulled off all that paint. Starting over. And a little bit of white in it. Okay, so I need to put in the leg line. So before we do this back paw, let's do the leg line. We're going to make kind of a dark version of this orange color, a little bit of black, and with quite a bit of that orange color, just to darken it a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. And I'm gonna create the knee. So it's just right here and down. And come right down to the foot. And I'm also gonna use this color since I have it and it's on my brush. We might as well do this part. I'm gonna outline quick the edge. I did the knee. I did this whole arm. I'm gonna do inside his belly. I already did this side of the arm because it's attached to the belly. I'll do down the other side of his arm. And I can do the side of his tail. I'm gonna do the top of the tail. I just do it quick and loose. Doesn't need to be perfect. And let's see, we can do the ears. I'll do this ear. Across his head. Where the white and the orange meet. And we have our outlining done. I will come in and do this little paw so I can see the sides of the paw. This we're gonna come in and finish to be like this, but I am gonna, since I've got this color in my brush, I might as well just do it now and then alter and go back in, just switch my brush color and do this gray. I'm gonna do a little bit of zigzag on the tops here with my dark, so using this dark orange. And I need to get his little butt. So I can't really reach. And it's just a little swoop. Okay. So now I'm gonna go back and fix, not really fix. I'm just gonna go in and make sure I get that part done so it matches, so he's got matching feet. Going back to my dark gray. Got my dark gray. We've already used this. We did it on the paws. So up here is where we're gonna do our line, and we're just gonna come and fill in all the way. Get this little back foot done. Just gonna paint it all gray. Kind of hard for me to get down in there, but I'm getting her. And then at the top, we need to do our zigzag. There. And now I can go back in with that dark orange and just give that a little bit of outline again. So my dark orange, I'm gonna just do a quick outline at the top here. I'm gonna come down the foot. Make sure I do that side of the foot. And I'm gonna come around the entire little paw. Can't really reach, but you get the idea. All right, so now we just have left his nose and eyes. Oh, and his little bow tie. So let's do the nose and eyes first. I'm gonna use medium or small brush. The space is kind of small. So I'm gonna put his eyes up here. Just circle shapes, one eye, two eyes. And his nose. He's quite a handsome little fox. Dapper with his tie. Okay, so while those dry, we will go back in to the bow tie area And I'm gonna paint it yellow. That what color did I say that was? Raw sienna. Kind of like this dull, this yellowy color. I'm just gonna paint that color right on top. I'm gonna add a little bit of white in with it, just so I get a little bit better coverage. So I'll just do a thin, even coat. Get all my little white spots filled in. Just nice thin paint. And then I'll take, with my dirty brush, I'll just take a little scoop of white and blend it in. That just helps smooth out my streaks. Feel free to do more than one coat. Got his little bow tie. Well, that's drying because we're gonna put some stripes on there. You can do a different pattern if you want, whatever you decide. Stripes are fun. Polka dots would be cute also. I'm going to do a little bit of highlighting with some white paint. I'm going to use my smaller brush, and I'm just going to go around to different parts of him and just give him little, like, outliney, highlighty lines. So just quick around the ears. Maybe I'll even just squiggle in like some fur. And little squiggles. Oops, I just put my hand in yellow. Whoops. Oh, maybe a quick little something on the tail there. And then, how about right down here on these zigzags? I'll do it on the back ones also. I like it. What else? Maybe a little highlight spot on the eyes. Well, like just right here and right here. And then across the top of his nose. So then lastly, we just have to go in and finish our bow tie. And I'm gonna use blue. I got lots of blue left. And just using the plain blue on my plate. So here's my blue. I'm gonna just put it over here. And I'm just gonna add just a little bit of white to that. Just a smidge. And I'll maybe just do lines this way across that part of the tie. And then change direction maybe. It'll come this way. On that side. And then just straight across in the middle. Little stripies. Then I'll just take the same color and do an outline. Do the center. And there is his cute little bow. And that finishes him right up. I'm pretty sure he looks pretty cute. Yep, I don't see anything he needs. I like it. I'm gonna sign my name and do it down here in this lower corner. Maybe just with some gray. I'll sign his little foot. So I got this dark gray of the foot. Maybe add a little white to it so it shows up a little bit better. Stir in a little bit of water just to help the flow of my paint, and I can get my name in one swoop. Just sign right there. And I'm done. When you guys are finished, if you would please take photos of your work and share them with me. I have a post pinned to the top of my Facebook page, Willy-Nilly. You can upload them there. You can also check out everybody else's work that have shared. I'd love to see and really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. I'll see you in the next one.